have a new toy in the State of Charge garage here today, one that I am really excited about because I believe it has the potential to democratize home electric vehicle charging here in North America. And today, we're going to be traveling up to Starksboro, Vermont, about 350 miles north of where I live, to witness one of the very first installations of this product in America. Let's get into it. Okay, so what did I mean when I said that this device has the potential to democratize home electric vehicle charging in North America? Well, one of the big problems to electric vehicle adoption is that many people can't install an electric vehicle charger in their home because they have a small service or perhaps an older home and their service is maxed out. And in order to add that circuit for electric car charging, which is typically a very powerful circuit because you use a lot of energy to charge your electric car, they have to do a full service upgrade in order to add that dedicated circuit that electric vehicle charging requires. That can be very expensive. So in addition to getting your new car and having your new car payments and perhaps buying your charging equipment, you now have to have a full service upgrade, which can start at $3,000. It can go much higher than that. And that has been keeping a lot of people out of getting an electric car. Now, of course, you could get your electric car and charge in public if there's infrastructure by your house. But that's very inconvenient, and it also is usually much more expensive than charging at home. Take, for instance, where I live here in New Jersey. It's 3 times as expensive for me to use public charging infrastructure than it is for me to charge at home. So I don't want to go and use public chargers unless I absolutely have to. And it's also most convenient to charge at home. Okay, so how is this going to help? Well, this is an EV meter socket adapter made by a company called ConnectDER. And what it allows you to do is install this on your meter and basically charge your electric car directly from the meter. So if you have, let's say, a 100 amp service and your panel is maxed out, you can install this on your meter and still charge at like 40 amps. It will intelligently manage the power, and if your house is consuming too much energy at the time you're charging your electric car, this will shut off. The car charger will shut off until your load in your house drops down to the point where it can begin charging again. So what this basically does is it allows you to intelligently manage your power so that you can install an electric car charger where you normally couldn't. Okay, that sounds great, right? But what are the limitations? Okay, there's a few limitations to this. Number one, it only comes available in a 100 amp and 125 amp version right now. And on either version, you can either install a 40 amp circuit or a 60 amp circuit. So basically, if you had, say, a 200 amp service in your home and you were already maxed out, this isn't going to work for you. But the chances of that happening are slim compared to, say, people that have a 100 amp or 125 amp service or even 150 amp service. You can install the 125 amp version on a 150 amp service. However, now you're limiting your service to 125 amps. Although while that might seem like it's a big problem, it may not be, because even though you have a ton of circuits in your home and your service panel is full and it's a 150 amp circuit, typically you're not using near that much power in the same time. So many people will find that even if they have a 150 amp service, they can use a 125 amp connector and not have any issues in their house and have that extra circuit available coming straight from the panel. Okay, so 40 amp and 60 amp. So you could charge your electric vehicle either 7.7 kilowatt or 11.5 kilowatt for the 60 amp version, because it does adhere to the 80% rule that electric vehicle charging or any continuous load does. You can only draw continuously 80% of the circuit. So if it's the 40 amp version, you can draw 32 amps. If it's the 60 amp version, you can draw 48 amps. Okay, so how does it work? How do you install it? So if you take a look at this, this is basically the size of an electric meter. The meter gets removed from the house, and then this gets installed onto the meter pan. Then the meter comes on the outside of it. Now that's the meter part of it. Let me take the top section off, which is basically like a junction box, like a sub panel. And in here, this is a 60 amp version. The 40 amp version looks the same. You have a regular breaker in there. And what this does is, the good thing about this is it can be installed either way. And that's important because the power that feeds the charger comes off the side of it. And if the meter pan was on, say, the corner of a house and you couldn't take the power off one side, they can flip it over. And ConnectDER actually has a patent on this removable sub panel part of it, whereas they're the only ones that could make something like this, to have this section be removed and basically just snap in. And why is that important? Well, it's important because without the ability to remove this, let me pull it out again, the utility wouldn't be able to work on your meter pan unless your electrician came out and took this thing off. Because don't forget, this is going to be piped in on the side. So basically it's going to be like hardwired to your meter. So the fact that this can be removed and lifted up and lifted off, now the utility can come in, pull the meter, pull this if they need to service your meter pan for whatever reason. And since we're talking about utilities, as far as installation, some states require the utility to pull the meter. And in that instance, if you had one installed, you'd have to coordinate with your utility to come pull the meter. The ConnectDER contractor, which is Qmerit. Qmerit is ConnectDER's preferred contractor. They're the ones that are going to be installing these. They would put this on, connect to everything, and then the utility would put the meter back on. And the good thing is the utility doesn't even have to leave, because all this can be done in like 15 or 20 minutes. It's a really quick procedure, which you're going to see tomorrow when we drive up to install it. Okay, so where is it available? Currently, it's only available, I believe, in Vermont, and that's why we're going to Vermont. But ConnectDER does have these in the hands of utilities across the country. They're testing them for viability and for safety. Now, the difficult thing here in America is we have thousands of utilities, and each one has to approve specific devices. So it could take a while before this is available throughout the country. It is available in Vermont. Green Mountain Power were one of the first utilities to approve it. I think there are also a few other utilities around the country, which I don't have the full list now. You can find that from the ConnectDER website. But ConnectDER does have it in the hands of a lot of utilities around the country. They expect to get approval in areas of California really soon. Here in my home state of New Jersey, they're expecting really soon. I think Illinois might already be approved. But what's probably going to happen is, once a handful of utilities have approved this, and there's dozens and hundreds of them installed around the country, it's going to be a lot easier for them to get it approved in other states. It's like nobody wants to be first. The utilities want to see that this is out there and working in a bunch of states. And then it'll probably, like a snowball, it'll just keep rolling and getting bigger and bigger. And once they get a dozen or so of big utilities to approve it, they'll probably get dozens and dozens more and hundreds of more utilities signing on and approving it. So you can't get this everywhere yet. California should be coming soon, as well as New Jersey. But right now, as far as I know Green Mountain Power in Vermont has approved it. Okay, so that's the device. We're going to head up to Starksboro, Vermont. Like I said, it's about 350 miles north of my house. I'm going to be driving tonight up there. We're going to do the installation tomorrow morning at a customer who owns a Kia EV6. And that's important here because we're going to actually talk to Kia, as well as representatives from ConnectDER, Qmerit, I believe the Qmerit contractor that's doing the installation up there. And Vermont, by the way, is a state that doesn't require the utility to pull the meter. So the Qmerit contractor there is going to do the whole work, pull the meter himself, put this on, put the meter back on, and complete the whole work. But I'm mentioning Kia for a reason. Kia is the first OEM to endorse this product, and they're going to add it to their portfolio of customers that come in and want to get an electric vehicle. And maybe they say, well, you know, I can't, I have 100 amp service. Kia will say, look, we have solutions for any electric situation you have at your house. So I want to give Kia some props for being the first OEM to approve this. And I actually reached out to some of my contacts at other OEMs and said, hey, this sounds like it's a great device that's going to help you sell more electric vehicles. Why wouldn't you get on board with it? And their answer is, Tom, we are on board with it, but we generally don't endorse products that aren't available throughout the whole country. We have customers in all the different states. So for us to say, yeah, you know, we're really getting fully on board with this when it only serves a small percentage of our customers, it's hard for us to do that. But we'll keep an eye on this, and once it gets approved in other states, we'll reevaluate it. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think that this is something that all of the OEMs would want in their toolbox to offer to their customers, or at least point them in the direction of saying, hey, if you have a problem with your home electric service, you have a small service, you don't want to pay for an upgrade, we have a super low cost solution. And as far as cost, the unit itself retails for $875, but ConnectDER does sell it through distributors, and I think the Qmerit contractors are involved with that also. So the price could be less, it could be more for the unit, but I know ConnectDER told me it retails for $875, and you should be able to get it installed, depending on the installation, for just a few $100s. I mean, ConnectDER said there's plenty of installations where if it's a simple, clean installation and they don't have to run conduit really far, that this could be right around $1,000 fully installed, which would be fantastic. And getting back to the point that I made earlier about democratizing electric vehicle charging, because you get a new electric vehicle and now you find out you've got a 100 amp service, you need to spend thousands of dollars to do a service upgrade, and that just isn't in most people's budgets. And unfortunately, the people that have the smaller homes, the older homes with old 100 amp service are in the worst position to spend $5,000 to do a service upgrade. The people that have the homes already with 200 amp or 400 amp service, they don't necessarily need to do the service upgrade, but they probably have a big house with the high service. They probably could afford it if they had to do it. So I think this is going to be a really good tool for some of the more, say, economically challenged EV customers that want to charge at home. And there's another use for it that I'm excited about, and that would be apartment buildings. Not big, giant apartment buildings, but there's plenty of buildings that have just a couple of apartments. And to run the conduit from the electric panel, which is typically in the apartment building, typically on the second floor somewhere, down through the building and out into the parking lot, that can cost a lot of money. But with this, they can simply install this on the meter pan outside and mount the charger right next to it if the outside of the building is right by the parking lot. And I'm actually going to try to identify a situation like that in the coming months and do an install to show you how this can actually help people that live in apartments charge their electric vehicles there without having to incur a huge cost. Okay, well, with that said, I'm going to pack up the Lightning and head up to Starksboro, Vermont, where we'll witness the first installation of this unit here in the state of Vermont. Okay, so we're at the home up here in Starksboro, Vermont. And as you can see, the customer's current meter pan is on the front of the house. This is the front of the house. This is where we're going to be installing the connector. But take a look at where he charges. Come around the house. And here's his Kia EV6. This is kind of the carport where they park. And you can see over here, we already removed the Autel maxi charger. This is where it was installed, and this is the side of the house that he wants the maxi charger to stay on. So we're gonna have to run conduit around the house. Now, if this was a garage installation, we could just take the conduit through the wall and into the garage. That wouldn't be a problem either. There's the maxi charger sitting on top of the hot tub that the customer will be allowed to use again. The reason why this is such an important deal for this particular customer is because his service is limited. He had to disconnect the hot tub in order to install the charger to charge his EV6. But now with the connector, he can have the best of both worlds. He could charge his electric vehicle at home, and we can reconnect the hot tub, because who wouldn't want to hang out in a hot tub out here? Okay, so next up, we're going to talk to representatives from Qmerit and Kia and get their take on the connector. So I'm here with Alex Pawlowski from Kia. Kia was actually the first automaker to have a deal with ConnectDER and say, look, we like this product, we want to sponsor it, we want to make it available to our customers. And maybe you could tell us why is that? What do you find special about ConnectDER?
Yeah, so we hear a lot from our customers. We're constantly asking our customers who have bought EVs, have considered EVs, maybe not have purchased an EV, what's the biggest problem area that you have in the EV buying process? And one of that is getting a charger installed at the home, right? So think about it. In the Northeast, especially here in Vermont, we know that most homes have 100 amp panels. Mm-hmm. So if we want EVs to keep driving forward and having more opportunities to get into customers' homes, coming up to a customer's home with a full panel where you can't add a charger isn't great for customers and isn't great for us. So we're actually trying to find ways to sell more cars in places like Vermont and others that have these older panels types that are really important. Vermont is actually the state that we actually sell more plug-in hybrids than we do EVs. No other state in the country is like that. And we think a lot of that has to do with both older panels, not having that kind of friction of getting EV charging installed at home and other things.
So you think that some of these customers would have gone full BEV if they had the capacity to add electric, and they could always get that capacity, but it cost many thousands of dollars.
Yes.
Like this house has a 100 amp main, I'm pretty sure. Mm-hmm. For them to upgrade to say a 200 amp main, it could be $5,000-6,000. So you're buying a new car, you're buying charging equipment, you're spending all the money, and now here's another $6,000. It just isn't economically viable for a lot of people. So I'm happy to see Kia taking this step and trying to make it easier for their customers to go full electric. But I have one last question for you. Now, the interesting thing about this is we believe this is going to work. Let's install it. Let's make sure everything works and everything. And it's going to be a good solution for a lot of people. But one of the things I found in my many years with electric vehicles is that the dealerships have a very difficult time communicating how to charge an electric vehicle, what people's options are. Even if Kia gets involved with this, but the dealers can't tell the customers, look, we have a solution for charging no matter what your home is, whether it's an upgrade, whether it's a charger, whether it's a connector. Is Kia going to actively help the dealers understand this and communicate it to the customers? Because if not, it's not going to help.
Yeah, absolutely. So dealer training is something that Kia finds very important. Like you have said, a lot of other OEMs, we have found that EV training in dealerships is lacking. Mm-hmm. So one thing that we're doing is having good education pieces for dealers, but also we have a field team that visits dealers often. And we get a chance to, see how it's actually doing at a dealership, finding what those pain points are. And again, we are also always asking our customers post-purchase, what are things that are happening in the dealership, et cetera, that we can point to when we go to those dealership visits to be ready to say, here are some training tools that we have available. Here's the information to have right on the sales floor. Don't have to go back, find something else. You have it right there in front of you. That's something that we find important.
Good. And I think the timing is perfect because you're going to be introducing a low-cost electric option soon, or lower cost, the EV3.
That's right.
Which would appeal to, say, some entry-level customers. And those are the customers that are particularly probably can't afford a service upgrade if they're shopping in that price segment. It's different if you're going for $150,000 Lucid Air.
Yeah.
And you could probably say, upgrade the electric. Yeah, no problem. 10 grand, go ahead. But when you're shopping in that $30,000, $35,000 price range, you're more cost sensitive. So I think the timing is right for this. And good luck. I just hope that you're able to do that at the dealership point. And when somebody comes in, say, we've got low cost charging solutions no matter what your home setup is. And that can be challenging. Good luck with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you. I mean, again, the era of early adoption is over. We're now in the early majority. Mm-hmm. So we got to find solutions that help those people where they're at. So,
listen, Alex, thanks for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Next up is Eric Quartello from Qmerit. Qmerit is the official partner of ConnectDER to install the device throughout the country. Eric, good to see you again. We actually live very close to each other, just out of coincidence. He lives like 2 miles from me in New Jersey. So we both drove like 350 miles to come up here to Starksboro, but you know, and we didn't do it together. We should have carpooled.
I know. Next time.
Anyway, listen, exciting new piece of technology. Qmerit, of course, is you know, the nation's leader in electrification technology installations. This is just another tool in your toolkit now, but tell us a little bit why this is kind of an important tool.
So this is really an awesome product. It's going to really help the consumer get away from those that need a panel upgrade or a service upgrade. It costs thousands of dollars. This is going to be $1,000 or less. Plug and play installation, going to give them the same capability to power their EV or have other electrification devices, and just keep it simple and really keep that installation cost down.
Yeah, and I know you before everybody says $1,000 or less, that's a simple basic installation where you're installing it and then you mount the charger right near it. This is a little more complex what your installers are doing today, because we're gonna wrap conduit around the whole house. So something like that would be a little bit more expensive, but the unit is under $1,000. The installation is gonna be, a simple installation would be under an hour. So this could be $1,000 install, and now you can charge your electric vehicle at home, as opposed to $5,000–6,000 to do a full service upgrade.
That's right.
So this is an important piece, and I'm glad that you guys are the official installer of ConnectDER. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom.
All right, so I'm here with Brian. He is the owner of the EV6 and the resident here. Brian, you excited about being able to have both your car charging and your hot tub use at the same time?
I am super excited.
That had to be a difficult decision to disconnect the hot tub.
It was really difficult. Honestly, the hot tub was one of the selling points of the house, and having that gone has been kind of an upsetment. So, yeah.
So after today, you're going to have both.
Yes.
Okay. So
yes.
Is this your first EV, the EV6?
Yes, first EV. It's been great. Honestly, not having to go to a gas station has been amazing.
And how about the driving experience?
Driving,
cool,
it's
right?
quiet, it's smooth, accelerates great. Yeah. It's awesome.
Okay, well listen, let's start this installation and get your hot tub up and running again,
Yes,
okay?
let's do it. Yes.
Okay, so I set up 2 camera angles while the electricians installed the connector. They aren't perfectly in sync because I cut out some of the footage that didn't have any action. The installation took about 25 minutes, but that was with us stopping to talk about what was going on and taking some pictures. If we hadn't done that, the MSA could have been installed in about 15 to 20 minutes, as ConnectDER states. Now at this point, the connector is done, but we still have to run the conduit to the charger. But I stopped to talk with the Renua Energy electrician that did the installation to talk about where we're at before we started running the conduit. So I'm here with Jim now. He's a master electrician for Renua Energy. They're the local Qmerit contractor here in Vermont. Jim, so I see the connector is installed. Where are we at in the installation process now?
So right now, at this point of the installation, we can walk away. It's perfectly safe. If they had the charger, we could come back and put it in at a later date. Or what we're going to do today, we're going to actually install the charger. So we're going to put the conduit in. We're going to wrap it all the way around the house. Go back to where they want to put the charger, and good to go.
And we're all set. But if what you're saying is, if he didn't have a charger, you could leave now and it's totally safe. Nobody would get hurt or anything?
Yep, perfectly safe, finger safe. Nobody can get hurt anyhow on it.
Okay. Well, let's get this conduit installed and start charging his Kia EV6.
Sounds good to me.
And as I mentioned before, the owner wants the charger located on the other side of the house. So the guys had to install about 60 feet of conduit, pull the wires through, install the charger, and then hook the wires up to the connector on the other end. You'll notice that they use a flexible cable for the last couple of feet, and that's to allow the junction box part of the connector to be removed from the meter extension if work on the meter pan has to happen in the future.
let's take it real slow. You know we got what you need, baby, so take it, move along. I said we got what you need, honey, come and groove along.
Okay, so I'm here with Whit Fulton. He is the founder of ConnectDER. And Whit, we're all installed here. We're about to plug in the EV6. We haven't done that yet, but I'm going to let Brian do that next. But you've all installed. We did it in a really short period of time, even with all of this conduit. And that's part of the beauty of this product. You can really install it quickly. What was the impetus? What gave you the idea to develop something like this?
Yeah, I used to work for a different company, and we had this old school battery storage system that you had to plug into the house. And when we went inside the house, it was horrific trying to do all the wiring and the service panel upgrades. It was just killing our cost economics. And one day I saw a meter change out on the side of a house, and I was like, that is a big socket for the whole house. EVs are coming, solar's coming, batteries are coming, heat pumps, everything to electrify. And the thought was, why can't we just use that? So it's a very simple idea. Plug in there, avoid everything inside this house, and you're done.
Yeah. So, okay, sounds great. Well, why aren't we using it for all EV charger installations then?
Well, it's a little bit of a labor of love. The simplicity of the idea is right there, and there's a lot of value in it. But the biggest challenge is every utility in the country has sort of jurisdiction over the meter socket, and utilities are slow to change. A lot of them are very innovative, but they look at safety, look at making sure that everything works safely. So we have to work through every utility we go into so they can say it's okay or not okay. It's taken a long time to get them really comfortable with the idea, but now we're really getting around to it. We have a solar product that's kind of similar to this. We have 25,000 of those out there. We've been doing this for like 10 years now. And the EV product's only just coming out now, and utilities are really coming around to it, but it does take time for each one.
Right, and this is, I heard Green Mountain Power in Vermont is the first utility, right, that approved you guys, and that's why we're here doing the first installation with the Kia program. And but one of the things I noticed also was the units available in either 100 amp or 125 amp versions. Why did you go 125? It seems to me most of the services are either 100 or 150.
Well, to be honest, 125 is the biggest we could fit the whole house breaker inside the device for overcurrent protection. We'd love to do 200 amp version. We will be doing that over time. But right now, the sweet spot in the market for most people who want to avoid a service upgrade, which is really what we do, is really that 100 to 125 amp service area.
Okay, yeah, and I'd imagine, you know, if you have the 200 amp service, most people can fit in a car charger with a 200 amp service. Not everybody though, because a lot of people have a lot of electrification things going on in the house. But if you have a 200 amp service, I think most homes would be able to get that dedicated circuit. It's the 100 amp circuits, like what we have here, 100 amp services, that really are a problem, because to charge an electric vehicle, you know, you really want a minimum of 24 or really 32 amps. The minimum, you really want to charge it maybe 40 amps, but 32 amps is fine for most people, and that's taking up, you know, a third of the home's capacity. So this device here allows you to do that and not overload the circuit. And if it does, it just shuts off. That's fantastic. What else is the company working on?
Well, obviously EV is near and dear to our heart. And we're always looking to the future though. And so one of the things we're looking at is what's going to really drive people to adopt EVs over time. Because right now, yeah, it's, you know, it's cleaner, it's quieter, it's really incredibly low cost to charge. And so they're amazing vehicles, but year or two out, you're going to start seeing more and more vehicle to home, like backup support, and that being a real driver for people to adopt EVs. We're trying to get ahead of that. We're creating a version of our product, you know, that will be out in the next year or two, that allows people to use it for whole house backup as well. So you just plug in the EV charger there, you plug it, it's bidirectional, and it allows us to get that out to market, and allows people to just come home, plug in their car, power goes out, the car backs up much more cheaply than what you can do now.
So that system would be all I need. For instance, I have a Ford F-150 Lightning, and I have Ford's intelligent home backup system. It's a bunch of components. It was expensive. What you're saying is your product has the potential to eliminate all that. You would just use that and plug it into the charger?
That's pretty much the goal. Like our vision, what we call like the mic drop moment, is effectively having two guys roll up to the side of a house, mount a battery storage system, and just plug into our product or walk away. Or roll up to the side of the house, mount a bidirectional EV charger, plug it into our adapter product, walk away. So a 15-minute install, done.
Okay, that sounds fantastic. And I see you partnered with Qmerit. We talked to the Qmerit folks here. I suppose that was important that you found an installer that is nationwide and also has electrification technology experience. You've also partnered with Kia. Could you talk a little bit about why that was an important partnership?
Yeah, no, I mean, first of all, we're a relatively small company. We've been around, a little more than 10 years, but we've really grown steadily. And we're at an inflection point where our product's getting out all over the place. And having a partner like Kia, which, they make incredible vehicles. Like, full disclosure, I'm looking at the EV9. I think it's a really cool car. To have that kind of the brand, imprint and the confidence and the level of interest from someone like Kia in what we're doing and that affirmation is amazing. And we've had great experience working with them. They've been really, amazing to work with, and we're really looking forward to doing more with them.
Yeah, and I want to say, hats off to Kia for recognizing that this is the type of product that will help more people get into electric vehicles, because having the issue of having an older service that's limited 100 amps or so, a lot of people just wouldn't get an EV because they don't want to go for that $5,000-$6,000 expense of a full service upgrade. They just bought a new car, now they got to do that. Yeah. So I think something like this that can be purchased and installed for around $1,000. I mean, that's a game changer, particularly for the lower end market that can't afford, really expensive installs. So hats off to Kia for recognizing that this can help their customers and being the first OEM to really get on board with this. So that's great. So maybe you could tell the followers where they can find more information about ConnectDER.
Sure. Yeah, so if you're interested in the EV meter socket adapter, we are in pilot rollout now all across Vermont. We're looking at getting some much bigger states in the very near future. The best thing to do is go to our website, ConnectDER.com. That's ConnectDER.com, to check out really where it's available and when, because we'll be doing it sort of on a state-by-state basis.
Okay, and I'll have more information as that becomes available here on State of Charge. Listen, Whit, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you, Tom. This has been great.
This is a great product, and I'm looking forward to working with you guys on future installations.
Excellent. Hey, thank you so much, man. This is really exciting for us, too.
It's exciting for me.
And an honor to be on State of Charge. This is such a cool podcast.
Thanks. All right, so Brian, we're all done. Everything's installed. Are you happy with the install?
Really happy. Everything looks amazing. It's perfect.
They did a great job with the conduit, hiding it along the bottom of the house and everything. It's nice. And I actually like the position of the charger here better than back there.
Yeah.
Because if you park out here, you could also reach it back there. It was just kind of like you had to park here to charge your car.
Right.
Now the cable will reach all around your driveway.
Yeah.
So the only thing left is let's see if it works.
Yeah.
Want to plug her in?
Let's plug it in.
Drum roll, please. Heard the click.
It's charging.
And it's charging. Okay. Yep, we got the lights there. So it actually works, believe it or not. These guys must know what they're doing.
Yeah, it works great.
What's the only thing left for you to do? Hook up the hot tub.
Yes, finally. Yes.
Okay, well, that's all we have here today. The first install of the ConnectDER here in Vermont. There's going to be many more. I'm going to try to stay on top of this product. I'm really excited about it. I think it's really going to help democratize electric vehicle charger installations, particularly for homes that don't have the capacity to add a charger. This is really going to be a fantastic product. Listen, if this is your first time here at State of Charge, please hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming electric vehicle news and reviews. And as always, thanks for watching.